Recently deleted my Hinge and I don't think I'm ever going back. I've seen so many other women saying that they also deleted the app. Dating apps are no longer for dating. Men have just turned dating apps into like an easier way to access convenient sex. In love, we are kind of meant to be found. We're not meant to be actively trying to find love. It's just supposed to be something you stumble into. I don't understand how men got onto dating apps and were like, oh yeah, this is not going to be for dating. I literally was talking to a guy for a month. I was seeing him almost every single week. Got me a Valentine's Day gift, all this stuff. Woke up one day and was like, I cannot be in a romantic relationship. Why were you on Hinge? I literally matched with another guy and he's like, oh, what are you on here for? Usually when they ask you what are you on here for, they're either because they actually seriously do want a girlfriend, which is like very never, or because they're trying to see if you want to hook up. So I was like, you know what, let me give this guy like the benefit of the doubt. And I was like, oh, I'm on here trying to find my husband that I could run around the playground with at 2 a.m. being kiki. This guy goes, something similar. I'm also trying to find people to hang out with late at night. I said, hang out with late at night? What do you mean? He goes, what's wrong with that? I said, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like, I'm trying to find people to hang out with late at night or early mornings. I said, baby, you're looking for a prostitute. That's what you're on this dating app for? A lot of the components of dating apps are just so superficial because I genuinely am such a surface level person on first match. You don't hit everything, all those points, I'm not gonna like you. So the men I've ever dated were from dating apps and they were the worst ones, but they were the most beautiful ones. But the guys that I met, like either through mutuals or in regular life, they weren't as attractive, but they were so much better. I feel like we get on dating apps because we feel this idea of like scarcity, so hard to find people. I was definitely like that too because I had this whole idea like, fuck, how am I ever gonna find someone? There was a time people dated before dating apps. I think if we all put our fucking foot down and we get off the dating apps, men are gonna go back to talking to women in public because they don't do it anymore because it's just so much easier to go on an app and swipe. I really feel like when you get out of the mindset of allowing men to like behave mediocrely with you, when you get out of that, you'll realize that it's almost impossible for someone to come with like the pressure right off a dating app because they've never had a conversation with you in person. They don't know who you are. How can I expect you to like want to plan an amazing date for me and the only thing you have to go off of is 4 prompts and some photos of me? When somebody meets you in person, there's more of that initial connection, so they're more likely to be a bit more emotionally involved with you. So this is your sign. Get off the apps, go find your man at Air One, the gym, something. Anyways, I'm going to Pilates so that I can get my body right and tight.
Get ready with me for a first date in my car. I actually only plan on posting this if it goes well because I learned my lesson last time. I did a get ready with me for a first date and it just wasn't my vibe, and I had to post an update and it was just no. So I'm supposed to be there at 7. It's 6:25, but I'm parked close by. The reason I'm even in my car is because I went to work today, and my job is actually far from my house. So instead of going all the way back home, I just changed and was like, you know what, I can do my makeup in my car because I usually do it. I usually do it in my car because I'm just always on the go. So I'm like, yeah, I can do that. So I actually feel so unprepared, but at the same time, I've been doing my best to like not romanticize this date too much. I don't even really want to call it a date necessarily, but that's what he called it. And I mean, I guess it is, but given other first dates that I've been on and like just how seriously I take dating and like the person for me, I just don't get my hopes up really for the first date. I think I would get my hopes up more for the second date, and I don't ever have second dates, honestly. I don't think I've ever had a second date. I think it only ever goes to first dates. And for like more backstory, I've also never dated anyone, so I've never had a boyfriend, but I have been on dates. I've been on a bunch of first dates, but no boyfriend. And yeah, dating also is like a Christian waiting for marriage, like that is hard, but in my opinion hard in a good way because it cancels out anyone who is just not going to be equally yoked with me, and I'm willing to wait and be patient for who God has for me. But on that note, it is hard to be patient, and so I feel like I'm always finding ways to meet people or put myself out there, and so I decided to go on Hinge. Please, however you feel about that app, I understand. I honestly am never on there long term. I always go on there like literally once every few months, and I will last like a week, and then I will just be like, yeah, no, my husband's not here. But I went on there and I was like, this time I'm gonna wait longer. And I was just like, you know, Lord, if I'm on here and I know that I'm saved and I'm a Bible believing Christian waiting for marriage, it's just so hard to meet people, I feel like, because I go to a lot of different like young adult youth events with my friends. Like, we've probably been to every young adult event in the tri-state area. Literally, I'm not even exaggerating. The Atlanta Christian young adult community is so small, so we really try our best to do as much as possible, but it still just felt like I just wasn't meeting many guys, because I don't know, it's like boundaries, like as Christians, like, you know, we're not always like just around men of God. And so I was like, you know what, Hinge is, to me, innocent enough. I'm just gonna go on there, and if someone messages me, I'll talk to them and I'll just see how it goes. And so that is what I did. And this person I'm going on a date with today, he messaged me a response to one of my prompts. And yeah, he like literally within 24 hours, he was like, yeah, let's get off this app. Can I have your number? And I was like, oh my gosh, like that doesn't usually happen. He's actually serious. And then I was like, okay. And so then we were texting, and that was my first time ever doing that. Like, please trust the process with my forehead. That was my first time ever doing that. I never have ever given my number out, but I don't know, it just felt right, and so I did. And he started texting me, and then within like a few days, he asked me on a date. He called it a date. He said it would be dinner on Friday. And guys, get this. So I was just like so skeptical, because I was just like a Hinge date, like he could be so creepy, so weird. Who knows? I just don't know if I feel comfortable. And then he asked me an amazing $1 million question for any single Christian girl out there: what church do you go to? And of course, I was ready with my response. I love my church, 2819. I was like, I go to 2819, and he hadn't heard of it, but then he asked him what church he goes to. Tell me why the church he goes to, I also go to that church, but only on Tuesday nights for their young adult service. And I haven't even been to the service very often, not as much as my friends. My friends literally go every Tuesday, and I'd been busy with school. I'd only gone once, but I had plans to go. And literally the same day we were texting was a Tuesday, and he was like, I'm literally here right now. And I literally was gonna go, but I just was tired. So yeah, I don't know, something about just like having a place in common just made me feel so much safer. Like, because in my mind too, I'm kind of like, I honestly also could have met him there, but I'm like, at that, I just, who knows, like it's just all God's plan, it's all God's timing. And so I am used to, in the past, chasing guys and like having crushes and not letting myself be pursued. Dealt with a lot of that like the trauma that made me do that, like, you know, daddy issues, you know, certain issues I had with abandonment, rejection. Now that I feel like God has like really been healing my heart, I just view men and dating and relationships so much differently. Like, I view myself as so much more precious than before. And don't get me wrong, like I've always been very strict about my body physically. Like, I just was like, I'm not having sex until marriage, and I have stood on that. But as far as giving my heart away, take it. I just gave it away to everybody because I was just looking for love. And so now I just kind of feel more like I'm not looking for anything. I found everything that I need, could want, everything I could possibly imagine in Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. And but it's, don't get me wrong, it's difficult some days staying content in that thought process. It's difficult. Sometimes I have to pray and ask God, help me to be content in my singleness, because I honestly don't want to be single, you know? And I feel like God has shown me time and time again why singleness is just, it can be so great. And it's been great for me, and I've loved it. I don't know, I'm talking about in past tense. Literally, still single. I'm loving singleness. It's great. I'm having a great time. I see relationships differently too. I think I learned from television, I thought that relationships were all about romance, but now I'm seeing that you can also, there's like a best friend element to relationships. And so that's why it's important that I like the person, and I'm also focused on if I even like them, and not just so focused on do they like me, how to get them to like me, and just in this like desperate fight or flight chasing mentality. But yeah, waiting is hard. Like sometimes I just feel so much anxiety around, you know, will I ever get married, will I ever meet that person? Like just the waiting, it's just, if you're someone who like loves to have control, loves to know stuff, it's very hard, because I think all the time, like, who will it be, you know, will it be someone that I actually like jive with? Like, I don't know, it's just lacking that faith and trust in God that he can provide someone for me that I actually like and enjoy. And since I have never like literally dated anyone or met anyone like that, it's so hard, because it's like I'm trusting in something that it's like I just don't even know is possible for me yet. And I feel like with every first date that doesn't work out, with every guy I meet who I may have a crush on and then it doesn't work out, it gets discouraging, and you kind of have to like take a moment and like heal that a little bit and like pick yourself up and dust yourself off. So I'm just like already trying to prepare myself for that. And I'm also someone who has great discernment, so I can know like within meeting someone if they're for me or not. And then you just kind of have to like sit there knowing this isn't for me. So I'm just trying to prepare myself for that. Oh my gosh, why is there someone getting arrested right next to me? Yeah, there's like 2 cop cars. They're arresting both of them. I feel so bad. I'm about to leave, you guys. But yep, I just hope this goes well. And if you're seeing this, it did. And this is just my...
I never thought I would see the day where people were like, fuck Bumble, fuck Hinge, fuck all these dating apps. I never thought I would see the day where I honestly was like, I don't care if I ever find anyone. Like, obviously, I used to be the type of person who was obsessed with finding love because I never got it growing up. And I've always been fat. But, like, these apps are just such bullshit. They're so dangerous. I swear, like, people ask me why I dated my first and last ex, and it's because, I shit you not, this is so awful. This is what happens when you're young and unloved. It was because he was the first dude who I ever went on a date with from an app who didn't try to assault me. Everyone else that I had tried to meet up with beforehand, you know, off these apps, they tried to, you know, attack me. I think there was a period where women were like, oh yeah, like, let's feel liberated. Like, you know, I'm tired of being called a hoe if I just, you know, want to, you know, go to Pound Town, you know what I'm saying? And then we quickly realized that that was a trick by the patriarchy to basically get free spice time. That's why, like I said, I ain't got my cheeks clapped in 4 years, because it's not worth it. Someone just posted a video saying that the ease at which y'all disrespect black women, it's just jaw-dropping. And it's so true. No matter where you go, y'all, I have lived in every sector of this country except for the West, all right? Y'all disrespect black women everywhere, and even internationally, because I've been internationally too. Y'all disrespect us everywhere. I come on here and I always try to caution young girls, because this society is always trying to find more ways to get free labor out of black women. And if I can influence y'all, you know, with my fucking platform to see through that bullshit and protect black girls and black women a lot more, I will fucking use my platform for that. And sit there and call me an old bitter bitch all you want to. I'm not the only black woman who feels like they've never been shown love in any sense, in any type of sense, not just romantic. But yeah, these apps were never made for love. And as a dark-skinned woman, I feel, emphasis on I feel, Like, love is only made for white women and bitches with ass and light skin. Because that's how society makes me feel. Also, y'all say that you have a problem with me cursing. Bitch, I'll say whatever the fuck I want to. The world is not going to respect me more if I curse less. Bitch, I've tried it before. I tried the whole respectability politics shit. This world does not care about black women. It's a fucking problem that we need to deal with now.
Girl, delete that dating app. Don't get me wrong. I feel like there have been lots of successes on the dating apps, but that was like back in their prime. And also like during like quarantine, like in 2020. But like in 2024, sis, no. Dating apps are not it. I just really feel like the men that are on the dating apps are like the leftovers. It's like the same men that you saw when you like first joined the app, maybe like 4 years ago, and then you got back on it this year. It's just, I don't know, I just feel like dating apps are not it, and I feel like we need to go outside, girl. Your husband is outside. Your husband is not on this app. Your husband is not on Hinge, Bumble. Your husband is definitely not on Tinder. Like, if he is, he's not going to come across you, because that's not where you're meant to meet your husband. And I get it. Don't get me wrong. I am a remote, stay-at-home dog mom girly. Moved to a new city and don't have any friends out here, so I get it. But I'm also like, I don't think I'm going to meet my man on a dating app. Like, I just feel like it doesn't work. Like with Bumble, they hide your matches unless you pay for them. I feel like with Hinge, you only get the type of man that will talk to you at the gas station. Like, I don't know, it's just, I don't like them. Like, girl, we need to just get hobbies. Like, go to the golf course, go to the country club, go to an upscale bar, grab you a mocktail if you're like me and you don't drink alcohol. Like, I just feel like there are so many different ways that we could meet man than a dating app. Like, we got to get off the apps. I'm sorry. Like, I see so many like dating stories. Like, have y'all seen that story or like that video that Winnie put out last night? And that man wanted her to pay? No, absolutely not. Granted, that can happen like in person too. But like, my thing is like, where was the disconnect? Like, are these men presenting themselves a certain way online that they're not presenting when you meet them in person? Because I don't know, I just feel like the apps just aren't it. I'm literally the app's biggest hater. Like, maybe I'm hating because I didn't have any luck, but I just feel like dating apps ruin traditional dating. That's my opinion. Get off them apps, girl.
I think across the board, everybody should delete their dating apps, and here's my reasons why. First and foremost, I don't care what society says, it is not normal to date multiple people. It is not normal to have like a repertoire of people that you can communicate with at all times and that you're trying to date and get to know at all times is not normal. When our parents were dating, you sought one person. You got to know that person and you saw if that person was for you or not. You weren't dating 15 different people or talking to 15 different people. It leaves too many opportunities and too many options available. Which leads into my next point, the validation purpose. Now, obviously, I don't think everybody on dating apps is doing it for validation purposes, but a lot of the times I think it just happens to fall into validating us. How many times have you looked on a dating app, replied to somebody, and you're just sitting in the DMs forever? Nobody ever replies, or they take like a week to reply. Truthfully, I think it's because on the opposite end, somebody is just getting like a validation hit from opening up the app and seeing how many people like them. They don't actually really want to communicate with somebody. Even if they think that they want to date somebody, I think a lot of the times it's really just to validate us and blow up our egos and make us think like, oh my gosh, all these people like me. Which then leads into my next point. It's a distraction. Our phones are already such a distraction to us. To have another app on there is another distraction. So when people say like, where am I supposed to meet somebody? We have to understand that there's so many places that we go to in a day. Except if you're somebody who works at home, never leaves your house, ever. But we go to gyms, we go to the grocery store, we go to work, we go to events, we go out. Like, we definitely go places where there's opportunities to meet people, but we're so distracted by our phones. I mean, I even do this. I'm walking in somewhere just staring at my phone. If we got off our phones for a second and started to smile at people and really try to engage in a conversation, how many more people could we talk to? How many more opportunities could be presented to us if we weren't just so distracted by our phone? Which leads to my last point, reverting back to the hunt. I think it's so easy for men now to just jump on an app and just look for women that way. Now, don't get me wrong, I say this all the time. I'm sure it is so intimidating for a man to walk up to a woman, which is why I'm somebody, if I think somebody's attractive, I'm going to open up the door. I'm going to compliment you. I'm going to say something. I'm going to try to engage in a conversation so that if you're interested and I'm interested, maybe we can exchange social media numbers, something there. But I think we've just made it so easy to just jump on our phones and look for people that it's become even more intimidating to have that conversation in person. So let's all just make a conscious decision to boycott dating apps and try it the old-fashioned way and just really meeting people in person, and let's see what happens.
Video of a girl talking about how she had to delete Hinge, the dating app, because it was affecting her confidence.
I've heard so many people complain about Hinge now, and I have the answer. It might make you feel a little better, but let's talk about how Hinge is literally the worst dating app on the market right now. First of all, this previous creator's talking about a complaint I think we've all had with Hinge, where, where are all the attractive people? It just feels like we're never getting any really attractive matches, which is weird because when you go on Bumble or Tinder, right, it's a completely different story. You're getting matches, they're all there, you can see them. So it's do attractive people just not use Hinge? And no, they do, but there's a reason they hide them. Similar to this creator and many girls and boys I've spoken with, you're just not getting as many matches on Hinge as other apps. But my friends and I have noticed that we get more roses and paid matches on that app than any other app. So it just doesn't add up. Why would people be more willing to pay for us to be matched there instead of free? And many of us have noticed they keep the most attractive members behind this paid rose wall on this little section at the bottom of the app. Now, if you're doing the math, which I know we're beautiful people, so that's hard for us to do, that means that Hinge is keeping you hidden behind this rose wall as well. And they're forcing people to have to pay to match with you because Hinge does not care about finding you your soulmate or someone to go out with. They just care about taking your money and also keeping the attractive people locked away and trapped on their app as long as possible. But also don't fall for them trying to force you to pay the most expensive subscription prices out of any of the apps. It's getting insanely priced, but back in the day when it was $10, $12, I decided to try it for 1 month to see if it would be any better at all. And I found that it literally wasn't any different despite the fact that they're constantly advertising it as the best way to use their app. So what is the point of me giving you that money if it's not any better? But yeah, it just feels like Hinge doesn't want to actually find you a match. They just want to make your life as difficult as possible. The concept of the app is amazing, but the execution is absolutely garbage. So if anything, Hinge is almost deterring attractive people from using their app by using this method. We just haven't all figured it out yet.
If you want to start dating again, but you hate using the dating apps and you do not want to download any of the Bumble, the Tinder, the Hinge apps ever again, this video is for you. This is how I found the guy that I'm dating right now. I did not use any of the dating apps. I'm going to spill all the tea because trust me, I did not want to download a dating app ever again after getting my heart broken into a million pieces by the guy that I met on Hinge 2 years ago. I'm I'm not doing that again. There's no way. So step number 1 is you have to get out of your house. And I know you're well, that sounds obvious, but I don't want to do that. I'm just a homebody person, whatever. Come on. If you want to meet people and you don't want to look at your phone and meet someone through an app, then you have to go outside. You just have to. Trust me though, I'm not the type to just walk up to someone and be hello, let's go on a date or just start a conversation like that. I don't typically just want to do that. Even if I wanted to be dating someone again, I wouldn't just actively do that. So if you're like me and you're kind of shy like that, this is what you do. This is what I did. Step number 1, I decided where is a place that I love to go that makes me happy. And immediately the ocean was the first thing that came to mind, okay? So I decided, I'm okay, I want to meet a person that has something in common with me so that we can go to this place together and have something in common and then also talk about other things. Because who knows, if you love the ocean, you love sitting on the beach and just being a beach person, then you probably have other things in common, right? At least you're starting from a place of commonality, right? So I literally made this promise to myself. I'm you know what? I want to meet someone on the beach and we'll see what happens, right? And I made this promise to myself 2 years ago, okay? And I literally I prayed to God, I asked the universe, listen, I need to meet someone on the beach, that's it. So people started walking up to me randomly, and I have other TikToks about this too if you want to go back, but people will come up to me, they start talking, and nothing was really good at first. I'm just gonna be honest, when you start going to the place that you love to go to and people come up to you and start talking to you, it's not always going to be love at first sight. But that's what makes it exciting, right? If you found the person of your dreams right away, then it wouldn't really feel like you have something special, you know? It's when you try so hard for so long and never really give up, and then that person comes around, it's whoa, this is good, this is intense. Does that make sense? So step number 2 is to go to the place that you love. And when you go there, you have to put a smile on your face. You have to look like you are ready to have a conversation with someone. Step number 3 is just keep going to that place over and over and over again and just wait for something crazy to happen. Or if you have the courage or the guts, or you're like really wanting to date someone, what you could do is try to find someone in that area that you go to. So like maybe you like coffee shops, maybe you like bookstores, maybe you like the beach like I do. Find someone that is also alone and looks like they can be approachable. So being approachable means smiling and just like open body language, okay? And that's what I was doing. I was smiling and I had open body language always. Plus I was reading a book, so it's very easy to kind of like walk up to someone when you know they're not like on the phone with someone else or like talking to someone else. It's like they can be approachable. That's the way that I was presented when my existing guy came up to me. This works for both genders too, so I don't care what your situation is. You can walk up to anyone and have a conversation. You seriously can. And the easiest thing that you can say, this is what my boyfriend told me. He just walked up to me and said, hello. And that was it. And then we started talking and that was it. It's easy to start talking about the things that are around me. So we talked about the beach and the sunset, sunrises, and then we started talking about travel and realized that we had a lot in common. He casually asked for my number and, you know, I gave it to him, and then we kept talking. We watched the sunset all the way until it was like pitch black outside, like not midnight, but it was really dark outside, and then we left. So, and then he texted me the next day and said, like, I had a really nice time talking to you. I think he said, I forgot what he said, but basically he was like, I had a really good time talking with you. And he asked me out again. He's like, did you want to do something later this week? Which was like literally in a day. And I was like, yeah, of course. And he wanted to go for a hike. So we kind of had things like planned out a little bit, but that's all you have to do is like get the number and then make sure you have a good conversation and then follow up the next day and just like reiterate, like, I had a good time. Because I feel like that's so rare these days, just being super like candid and like out there, just saying like, I enjoy talking to you, and that's it. Like, if anything, I think the scariest thing is like the rejection part, but if you can just walk up to someone and if they don't like you, you just get over that pretty fast, then you can find your person a lot faster, okay? So you have 2 options. You can either be the person that's just sitting there, open body language, smiling, which is what I did, or you can be the person that looks for people that are smiling with open body language, approach them with a smile, say hello, and then let the rest just flow.
Unhealthy dopamine hits. Let's talk about it. When I was in the absolute thick of my anxious attachment style, I had dating apps. I joined Hinge, I joined Tinder, I joined Bumble, and I thought it was going to be so much fun and distract me from what was actually going on in my life. Firstly, it did the complete opposite. And secondly, what I realized that these dating apps were doing was actually just giving me little really unhealthy hits of dopamine. In my personal experience and what I went through over the last couple of months, I realized that my self-esteem and my self-worth was basically non-existent. I could not validate myself. I couldn't look in the mirror and tell myself that I was beautiful. I couldn't look in the mirror and tell myself that I was funny. And it wasn't until I identified the areas that I needed to work on that I realized that I was not on dating apps to meet people or to date. I actually had no interest in it. It was because my self-worth and my self-esteem was so low. And obviously, like, there's nothing wrong with being on dating apps. However, I just feel, personally, personal opinion, I just feel that if you are struggling with your self-esteem and your self-worth and your self-talk, that maybe having a break from the dating apps will be good for you for a little while. It will allow you to sit with yourself, sit with your thoughts, and do things that make you happy. It'll give you a chance to be able to learn how to validate yourself.
I don't know who needs to hear this. Probably you need to hear this because it's on your For You. I'm gonna need you to delete those apps. And you know what apps I'm talking about. Swiping through those apps is the equivalent of rummaging through trash, okay? Nothing good is on those apps. I need you to take that energy and focus on yourself. Focus on your glow up. Focus on becoming the best version of you. And I promise you the right man will come along, okay? Because looking through those apps, baby, are we trash women? We're not.
Wait, I was scrolling through TikTok last night and this girl came on and she was talking about how she was sick of using Hinge, so she went to go delete it. And then Hinge gave the option, like a few different options, and one of them was to refresh the page, feed, whatever it is, where you can keep like the same matches that you already have, but basically like you can see everyone that you've said no to in the past, whatever, just like a fresh start. And then all of a sudden she had like a bunch of attractive people show up back to back to back, and she like ran out of likes and everything. And I was already gonna delete Hinge, so I was like, all right, let me just try this first. And then I was disappointed. I saw just like a bunch of people that like I've recently said no to, and I was just like, this isn't working. And then I didn't check it all day because I don't regularly check it anyway, but I went back on. I have 50 plus likes right now. 50 plus. I don't even know what the plus means, so like I don't know how many I actually have. I haven't gone through any of them because now I'm just like overwhelmed, and like we'll see if they just like blast it out to everyone, and like maybe I won't find anybody attractive on there, I don't know. But I'll keep you posted. Anyway, maybe give that a try.
Y'all are on these dating apps when you need to be at these conferences. The tech crunches, the National Retail Federations, the Harvard Business School conferences, the Wharton conferences, the Stanford conferences. That is where you need to be. Back in my day, right now, you know, I'm not doing that. I have other priorities. However, back in my day, I used to meet the best guys ever at these conferences. Like I would literally fly to San Francisco to go to TechCrunch, obviously because I was interested, but really I was like, oh my God, it's such a great way to meet people, men. Great way to meet men. So yeah, if I were you, I would start going to some conferences. I think it's a great place to meet smart people who are about their shit because they're outside being about their shit, as opposed to like swiping on a million people online. I just think it's a great way to meet people. So find some conferences and go to them. Apparently Afrotech was really good this year, so you could try that one too. But conferences, go to them.
If you're single, do you feel like you're a part of a revolution that you didn't ask to be a part of? Because that's how I feel. I don't know if the coupled people know, but the single people are all very aware that we're at this critical turning point of dating where no one wants to do dating apps anymore, but we don't have any third spaces to actually meet organically, and like a huge majority of us work from home. There is not currently a modern solution to modern dating problems. Yes, people used to meet organically before the internet, but now we have the internet. And the internet has messed a lot of things up. The biggest thing being the dating customs that our parents had, because it's no longer normal to approach someone in real life. Also, situationships. We can all agree that this has to be the worst time to be single, right? Because we're done with the old, we're done with the apps, but we're not in the new yet. We haven't figured out how are we going to meet each other? We're not there yet. Or if you guys know, let me know. We're all in this revolution just wondering, when is this gonna get fixed? Because if not, I'm gonna die alone.
If you were to ask me like a year ago how I feel about dating apps, I'd be like, oh yeah, Hinge is cool. I've met a lot of great guys on Hinge. A lot of Hinge horror stories I can't relate to, because honestly a lot of my best like relationships, short-term relationship flings, whatever, have been through Hinge. But I'm here today to say that I am no longer a part of the Hinge crew, and I don't think I'm going back. Nothing terrible has happened, nothing worth a story, but the men that have been liking me on Hinge lately have, it's starting to make me question, you know, who am I? You know, to be getting this type of attention, what am I giving off? What kind of energy am I giving on my profile that is just attracting men who look like they barely snuck onto Earth? Like, you look like you really weren't supposed to be here for real. And yet you got on Earth, and you got a buttload of audacity because now you're on Hinge telling me that you want to take me out. You know what I'm saying? It's been all year. I don't know if it's me, if it's Hinge, if it's the men, I don't know. I don't care. But all year, I've just been attracting the most disgusting looking men that I promise to God I've never seen men look this bad before. I'm so serious. And I'm not even trying to be funny. I'm being so serious. I've never seen men this down bad in my messages before. It's never happened. And I had to actually leave because it's starting to make me think, it's changing my mindset to the point where now I'm feeling like there are no attractive men. And I don't know if that's true or not, but I can't afford to have that type of mindset. Because if you believe that there's no attractive men, then you're not going to find one. So I can't let Hinge ruin my perception. And that's what it was starting to do. Like, it was getting to the point where every time I logged onto the app, I almost lost hope in humanity as a whole. And I can't let that happen. So now I guess my future husband, he's gonna have to find me a Kroger or something. I don't know. I go to Kroger like once a week. So maybe he'll be there. Maybe he'll find me on my walking trail. I don't know. But he can't find me on Hinge because your girl is, I'm done. I'm done. I've been insulted way too many times. I don't belong here anymore. I have to go.
Okay, so yesterday I go to delete Hinge, right? Because I'm like, I'm over it. I'm done with Hinge. I'm done with dating. And I'm done being discouraged because I'm so sorry everyone is atrociously ugly. No offense. So I go to delete the app and then it tells me, wait, are you sure you want to delete or do you just want to like refresh your feed? So essentially it like gets rid of the algorithm of everybody it thinks that I would like. So I hit yes, my feed refreshes and suddenly I'm seeing the hottest guys I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, I literally ran out of likes on Hinge within 5 minutes. Usually I like one guy every 200 and this was like, heart, 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 heart. Everyone who was sitting in my roses section was suddenly just like in my feed. So I don't know if everyone knew about this, but if you didn't, give it a try and let me know what you think.
So I took the meme of, I don't want to do the dating apps, I'll just go look confused at a pickleball court. I took that seriously. I took it to heart yesterday and it's 8:30 a.m. and I am on my way to go play pickleball with a man that I met there. Never played pickleball before. So I'll keep you posted on how it goes. I have no idea what to expect. Okay, it is 5 hours later and it turned into like a whole date where we were talking for 5 hours. He's so cute and sweet. He's just, oh my god, my phone's going crazy because I'm on the freeway, but he was he's just like a hot nerd and he's so sweet and dorky and like funny in a hot way, in a hot dorky way, and he's like a software engineer and just like, I don't know, like how did we spend 5 hours together? I don't even know. But pickleball was super fun too. I'm gonna be into that, but just saying, ladies, go act confused at a pickleball court. You never know what might happen. Yeah, we're gonna go on another date. Oh my god.
Single ladies, delete those dating apps. Now, a lot of people aren't going to agree with me. They're going to be like, what are you talking about? And that is absolutely fine. Just hear me out. I've seen a lot of beautiful women on this app that are talking about their dating experience, being on Bumble, Hinge, Tinder, I think's even one. And a lot of them, like 90%, have bad experiences. They're either ghosted or the guy's a complete a-hole, or whatever it is, it's just not a good experience. Now, there are like a few women, I think, that are using it to get a bigger platform, and not all their experiences are that bad. But for the large majority, there are a lot of women that are genuinely, and you can see it from their stories and things they've shared, that are looking for love and relationships on these apps. And I just want to be so frank. Yes, there's like a 40% chance of finding somebody you're really compatible with and end up having a relationship, but for the most part it is very, very unlikely. A lot of guys know why you're on there, and for a lot of them, they genuinely think that most of the women on there are either desperate or are happy to just go for a quickie. Now, don't get me wrong, like I said, people can find successful relationships on the dating apps. But if you really want a genuine connection with someone and want to meet someone, the best way to do it is by being yourself on a normal social media platform. Most of these guys are just looking for one night stands or a girl that they can just take out, wine and dine, and then move on to the next one. It's just a dating minefield. My advice to you, and of course you don't have to take it, is things like good old-fashioned Instagram, even TikTok, even Facebook. If you can get yourself out there, you can get your personality out there, things about you, they can see your stories, they can see your pictures, they can see you having fun. All of these things they see about you will actually attract the guy that actually wants to be in your life, wants to be a part of it, and they get to know you, they get to know your personality, and they can fall for you that way. Of course, this is me speaking from experience, so you can take it or you can leave it. I just want you guys, you beautiful women, to find guys that genuinely love you and appreciate you for you. And I'll just end with saying, the more you look for it, the more you're not going to get it. You just have to be yourself, do you, and he will come to you, I promise. It sounds so cliche, but it's so true. Like, literally, don't go looking for love. Love will come and find you. Like, that is that simple.
I've been off dating apps for like 4 months now, and I have to say, it is so much easier not to focus on dating when you're just focused on one person that doesn't want you back. I mean, when you delete the dating apps and focus on yourself.
Delete your dating apps. I don't use dating apps, and I'll tell you why. It's because your life's mission should not be to find another person. You do not need a relationship to validate your own existence, okay? Center your life around you. Stop going on 4 dates a week. It's just emotionally draining you, and it's making you actually feel more lonely, which is what these dating apps want you to feel. Even though they market that they want you to find a person, why would they want you to find a person? They want you to stay on their app. That's how they make money, okay? They feed off of your loneliness. Stop. You are enough on your own. If one day you do get married and decide to grow old with somebody, you're going to miss the time you had by yourself. Have faith in the universe, wait for it to provide, and delete your dating apps. I promise you'll feel better.